Hey friends, welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Molly Schwab, and it's that time of year again. The days are shorter, the air's colder, and the stress levels of teachers are soaring. The last couple of weeks before your holiday break are challenging. There's no doubt about that. But I'm here to help you keep it stress-free, a little bit easier, still productive and educational. So here are 11 teacher survival tips to help you make it through December in one piece. All right, tip number one, don't overplan. We all do it, right? There's so many fun things that you want to squeeze into a few short weeks leading up to your winter break, but you cannot do it all. You really can't. And trying to do everything is just going to lead to one thing, which is frustration. And then the next thing you know, you're going to find yourself yelling at your class or maybe your own kids when you get home and trying to get your kids to speed up and get things done so that you can move on to the next fun activity, right? But here's the thing. When you try to plan too much, nobody's enjoying anything really, and everybody's just feeling stressed out and overwhelmed. One of the best tips for teacher survival in December is just to remember not to overplan. All right, tip number two is just to slow down, and that's going to lead to more enjoyment for everybody. Let your kids take their time. If they're really enjoying making their holiday ornament or the Christmas card or whatever, just give them time to do it. Sometimes we plan a fun lesson and it includes, making gifts and it's messy, stuff like painting or glitter. Yeah, I said it, glitter. Kids love that stuff. So give them time to enjoy it. Give them an extra 10 minutes to finish that project instead of rushing them through it. It's okay if it goes over into your math lesson because you know what? Math is still going to be here in January. But you know what won't be here in January? Holiday memories, right? They're going to be over with. So slow down, enjoy those special projects. And, when you slow down, it's going to help you survive December just a little bit better. All right, tip number 3 is to make a memory. I get it. You've got to teach your kids to read at a certain level by the end of the school year. They got to pass that end of the year math test. But you know what? They should be enjoying the journey along the way. It's okay to take a break from your hardcore math and literacy standards for a couple of days in December. So make those Christmas ornaments or the holiday cards. Do something fun that they're always going to remember. One of my favorite activities in my class that we did was we adopted gingerbread babies. Or another one was we spent a day in the life of a North Pole elf. They were engaging, magical activities. They were still educational, but the kids really loved them. And at the end, when we finished doing those activities, they'd tell me, "This was the best day ever," or "I love this so much, when can we do it again?" That's how you make a memory with your students. So take a few minutes in December to do that. All right, tip number 4 is to make it easy on yourself. By the last week before break, everybody's exhausted. You're dealing with kids that are overly excited. Then you go home and you've got more holiday prep, right? You're probably trying to fit in gift wrapping and shopping and baking and decorating. The list is endless. So make it easy on yourself at school so that you can save your sanity a little bit. Keep your lessons very simple and easy to plan. I like to do some simple writing activities, and we would make a craft to go with it. We would do how to decorate a Christmas tree or how to make hot chocolate. And then we would actually make the hot chocolate, right? We'd make a big pot of hot chocolate in the crock pot, and the kids would drink it while they were doing the writing activity. Or we would do a little Christmas tree craft where they would decorate it, and then we would write how to decorate a Christmas tree. So it's simple activities like that that are going to keep kids engaged so they're less stressful for you and for them, which helps to keep your sanity in December. I have those activities in my TPT store, and if you want to take a closer look at them, you can just head to firstdyland.com/winterwriting, or the link will be in the show notes. All right, tip number 5 is to play some games. When everything else fails, pull out some games and play them with your kids. My kids love to play Four Corners, right? But in December, I'd give it a little twist and we'd call it North Pole Corners. And so we'd name the corners, the elves, the reindeer, the snowman, and toys. And then the person who was the caller was Santa. So all the kids would scatter to a corner of the room while Santa went out into the hall. And then when Santa came back in, blindfolded or with his eyes shut, he'd call out one corner, and whichever kids were in that corner had to sit down. And so you just keep playing like that until only one person is left in a corner, and then they become the new Santa. maybe you just need a break, right? So take a few minutes at your desk with maybe a little secret stash of chocolate while your kids entertain themselves with some games. I had a whole stash of no prep math and literacy games. Whenever I needed to take a minute to myself, I would give those to the kids. They were really simple little game boards, and the kids would either play with a partner or they would play at their table, like 4 kids. All you needed was a dice and some tokens for the kids to move around the board. They were holiday themed games, but they all had a math or a literacy skill that the kids were practicing. A lot of phonics games and like addition or subtraction, something like that. So when I needed a break, I'd pull those games out, let the kids play those by themselves at their table, and I'd take a 10-minute break or 15-minute break. Maybe I'd grade a few papers or answer a couple of emails, or maybe I would just drink a cup of tea, right? While the kids played those games for a few minutes. If anybody walked in, like my principal, and was like, what are they doing? They were learning. They were doing math skills and literacy skills, but I could get a little bit of a break. So remember, this podcast today is about how you can keep your sanity in December. So that's one thing that you can do, is just use some no prep games like that. If you want to see the ones that I use, you can go to 𝘧𝗲𝗰𝗵𝗲𝗿.com/games. You can see them there, or I'll put the link in the show notes. Hey teacher friends, are you ready to use read alouds more intentionally, but you're not sure where to start? I've got you covered. Join my free Winter Read Aloud Challenge, a 4-week experience with simple weekly ideas, mini podcast episodes every Monday morning, fun freebies, book suggestions, and a supportive Facebook group with weekly giveaways. Sign up at 𝘧𝗲𝗰𝗵𝗲𝗿.com/challenge. The fun begins January 5th. So sign up today and make read alouds the easiest part of your day. All right, tip number 6 is to pamper yourself. At the end of the day, when you go home, because December is exhausting, you need to take a hot bubble bath, maybe have a glass of wine, watch your favorite Hallmark movie. Give yourself a break when you go home in the evenings, and don't take any papers home to grade. Just don't do that in December. Nothing is that important that you have to spend those weeknights at home or even your weekends grading papers. Just give yourself a break when you go home in December, because you deserve it. All right, tip number 7 is to try a lights off day. When your kids are starting to get really overstimulated and the noise level is sky high, it might be time for a little reset. So switch off the overhead lights, turn on maybe a lamp or some little twinkle lights, put some quiet music on in the background. You can find that fireplace with the Christmas music on YouTube. Or the other day, I saw some really cute Bluey, like instrumental music like that, the quiet music, but Bluey was in the background doing things. Or I saw ones with Snoopy. So find something like that to put on your board. And while the kids are working at their table, just have everything sort of quieted down with, low lighting, quiet music, and give everybody a chance to sort of reset, including you. When you kind of calm your environment like that, it can really help the kids settle themselves down, and it can give you a much needed mental break too. Sometimes less stimulation is the secret to keeping everybody regulated during those crazy days in December. All right, tip number 8 is to plan a read aloud and relax day. You don't always have to be on, So pick a cozy winter themed picture book, pass out some coloring pages or maybe a journal prompt, and just let the kids color or draw as you read. Maybe they can sit on blankets on the floor, give them stuffed animals, let them lay there and listen. Gives everybody a chance to breathe and just kind of enjoy some nice stories together. All right, tip number 9 is to let the kids lead. One really easy way to take some pressure off yourself in December is to let your kids take over for a while. Let them have like a guest teacher role or be teacher for the day and share something that they know how to do. I actually did this with my class. We would do teacher for the day, and I would let 1 or 2 kids, or maybe more, be the teacher for a while in the classroom, and they would prepare a little teeny simple lesson plan of what they were going to teach, and then they would bring all the materials in that they were going to teach with, and then they would show the kids how to do something. I remember one kid showed us how to tie our shoes. Somebody else brought in bread and peanut butter and jelly and showed us how to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. One year I had a little boy bring in his boogie board from the beach, and he had like a big, kind of like a beach scene that he hung up on the board. And then he showed us how to ride the boogie board when you're in the waves, all kinds of cute stuff like that. And then the rest of the class, while they were listening and learning, had a little booklet that they would draw and write about what they learned from each student. So it was zero prep for me other than making the booklets for the kids to draw in. And the other kids absolutely loved being the teacher for the day. They thought that was so fun. And it's a great way to kind of give yourself a little bit of a break in December. So that's another activity that you can do to kind of help with your survival. And if you want to take a look at that, it's in my store, and you can go to 𝘧𝗲𝗋𝗋.com/teacher, or I'll put the link in the show notes. All right, tip number 10 is to build in some independent choice time. When your kids are just full of holiday energy, giving them a little bit of structured choices to let them work independently can help. They can do quiet things like puzzles or drawing or reading or maybe some word searches, things that are low prep for you but easy for them. You can have a little choice board so they know exactly what they're allowed to do, and then have them rotate to these activities every day. They could do a different activity every day. It gives you a few peaceful minutes to just prep materials or answer emails, or just take a sip of your lukewarm coffee that's on the corner of your desk probably. Just something like that to give everybody a little bit of downtime. All right, tip number 11 is to make yourself a teacher survival kit to keep at school, because you deserve a little comfort in December. So fill it up with things like a few favorite tea bags or your favorite coffee, a bar of chocolate or two, some cozy slippers, maybe some hand lotion, or a good book or a magazine, and keep it in your desk drawer or in a little cute basket in your classroom. And then on those really long December days when everything just feels chaotic, you're exhausted, sneak in a few minutes during your planning time to sip some tea or have a little nibble of chocolate, or just to put your feet up. You're going to be amazed at how much better you're going to feel even after like a 10 or 15 recharge during your planning time. So with a little bit of planning and a lot of grace, you can not only survive December, but you can actually enjoy it too. Just remember to slow down, make a few memories with the kids, and take care of yourself. You deserve a calm and cozy holiday season. If you're feeling tired and you're just feeling stretched thin this December, you're not alone. Every teacher knows how exhausting this time of the year can be, but it doesn't have to feel like survival mode, right? So just take a deep breath, slow things down, and just try to find the magic in the little moments with your kids. Give yourself permission to simplify things in December, laugh with your students, and just enjoy the season right along with them. I know you've got this. You're doing an amazing job. You can handle December, and you're almost to the ending point and ready for your winter break. All right, friends, that's it for today. Don't forget to sign up for the Winter Read Aloud Challenge that begins January 5th. You can sign up at 𝘧𝗲𝗋𝗋.com/challenge. You can find the links for everything I mentioned in today's episode in the show notes. And until next time, remember to make learning feel like play. See you next week.